everybody, it's Kelly with Soulful Creations, and today we're going to be making the Scottie Convertible Bag by Kaur Threads. So this is a really nice, spacious, roomy bag that you can carry three ways. You can carry it with a shoulder strap. Oh, that's not the shoulder strap. You can carry it with the shoulder strap that's detachable, right? Or this long strap here can be adjusted to be carried as a crossbody strap or a backpack strap. Okay, so isn't that so? I mean, you can carry it, like I said, three different ways. There's pockets galore. You have these two pockets, and this is not just one pocket. These are two separate pockets on the front. Okay, I love that. So you can, and there's so much room. You can put your cell phone in there. You can put some keys in there. On the back, you have this nice pocket with a magnetic snap, and that's also nice and roomy. Okay, inside, let me show you inside. I love this lining, so I'm going to show you this one. Look at the zipper too. The zipper's nice and secure. It's set in. It's an inset zipper, and when you open up here, look how roomy that is inside. And you have a divided slip pocket on one side. That's on this side. Let me try to turn it around so you can see. So you have a divided slip pocket, and then you have a zipper pocket, and it's just a beautifully created bag. Okay, the bottom is nice. You have these connectors on the bottom. You have plenty of connectors. You have the top connectors here with a D ring and a rectangle ring. Beautiful bag. Okay, there are a lot of pieces to this bag, but it goes together pretty quickly. So get the pattern. The link is in the description. Meet me in your sewing room so we can make the Scottie Convertible Bag by Kaur Threads. Okay, we're going to start our Scottie Convertible Bag by sewing up our bottom and top connectors first. So you should have cut 2 from each of your exterior, and you should have some stabilizer on the back. I'm using Decovil Light, so down the center, plus mark your centers and put a piece of double-sided tape. So I've done that on all 4 pieces. And now we're going to get ready to fold the raw edges to that center line. So let's do that now. So the small one, the shorter one is the bottom connector, and then the longer one is the top connector. Okay, and we're going to prepare them the same way. Okay. So up till now, getting ready to do this, you should have your, there's not very much to apply interfacing to. So go ahead and fuse those pieces according to the instructions. There's some placement marks that you need to make. And so go ahead and follow those instructions at the beginning of the pattern and have all of that done before you get to this point. Okay, so I'll make note of it as we go, but I just wanted to just make sure I state that. Okay, so once you get the raw edges folded in, I'm just going to do one of each for right now. We're going to go ahead and we're going to top stitch on each side, 3/8 of an inch in from each side. Okay, so have my thread, everything. So I'm going to start with this one. So we'll get it to the 3/8 mark here. Okay, and I'm going to get just do a little back stitch. And when I get to the end, just going to pivot, and I'll probably go about 1 stitch over or so, maybe a little bit more than that. Okay, that's good. And now I'm going to stitch down the other side, 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and now it should look like that. You should have 2 rows of stitching, and then we'll do the same thing for the bottom connector. A little too far there. Okay. There we go. All right, so there we go. So now we have our top stitching done down the center. I'm going to go ahead, I'll go ahead and do these 2, and then we're going to come back quickly and get to the next step. All right, so I have top stitched both of my bottom connectors and both of my top connectors. So we're going to set those aside for a minute. Then we're going to grab our crossbody strap pieces. So you should have 2 pieces cut 44 inches each. So it's going to be very long. Okay, and then we're going to sew these pieces together. So I've already marked the sew line, the line where I'm going to sew on this one. So we're going to cross it just like this. We're going to put them together like this. Okay, and we're going to sew that diagonal right there to put them together. Okay. Back stitching at the beginning and the end. Okay. Oops. Always good for dropping a clip or 2. Okay. So now we're going to take our scissors and we're going to trim this down to about 1/4 inch. So now it's looking like this, and then we're going to open that up, open the seam allowance up, okay, press that down, and we're going to top stitch on both sides of the seam. Okay, and then you should have, your top stitching, 2 rows of top stitching on both sides. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw some lines on the back of this. So you're going to grab your pen and your ruler, and on the long sides we're going to mark out 5/8 of an inch. And on the short sides, we're going to do 3/8. Okay, so this is a long piece, so I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to go ahead and draw out the lines, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I went ahead, I drew out those lines, and then I put double-sided tape right down the center. Okay, so the little rectangle that we make when drawing those lines, the double-sided tape goes right down the center. And we did the same thing for the handle. So we have our crossbody strap, and we just have our regular shoulder strap. So we're going to do the same thing here. Okay, and then we have these inner strap pieces. So you should have two that are 44 inches long and one that's 22 inches long. And then we're going to, for the 44-inch long pieces, we're going to cut off 3/8 of an inch. So I've already marked that out. We're going to do that on both pieces. So that's on the 44-inch pieces. Cut off 3/8 of an inch. And then on the 22-inch piece, you're going to cut off 3/4 of an inch. So I'll go ahead and cut that off. Okay. Now we're going to take, so let's take our, let's do the crossbody strap. And we're going to remove the double-sided tape, the backing off the double-sided tape, and we're going to take one of our pieces and we're going to lay that right in the center of where those markings are. So it's going to be just like that. So we're going to lay it right down the center. It should fall right in that, and right between those markings. Get that in there. Let me just get that. It's very long. Okay. And we're getting to the center here. Okay. And then once you get there, okay, so it's going to end there. And then take the other piece and we're going to butt it up right next to it. Right next to that one. And we're going to finish. So you'll have that. You'll have a little, you know, they should be really close together. Okay, so I'm going to finish getting this pressed down in place. And I'm a little long. I probably just didn't measure that well. So I'm just going to trim off the excess. Just get it right in there. Okay, you should not go past your little markings there. Okay. So now once you have that, you're going to mark out the center here. So I'm going to get another, I'm just going to use my chalk here. And we're going to mark the center. So it should be 1 inch from the, okay, so we're going to get that. I'm going to mark the center. So mark it for the whole piece. And we're going to put some double-sided tape. And we're going to fold the raw edges in to that center line. So let's get this. So again, I'll be back. I don't want to bore you because I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the crossbody strap. I'll get that ready. And then I'll also do the same thing with the handle or the shoulder strap. And I'll be back so we can sew it up. Okay, so I went ahead and I have the inner strip on my both strap pieces. I have marked the center. I put some double-sided tape, and now we're going to fold the raw edges in. Going to fold the raw edges in. Right to that center line. both sides. Okay. And once we get that done, now we're going to top stitch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, we're going to top stitch at 3/8 of an inch from each side. Just trim these threads off. Okay, and I'm just going to stitch over to the sides. We're going to now top stitch 1/8 of an inch from from each side. So you should have 4 rows of top stitching. Okay, so you have your 4 rows of top stitching. I'm going to do the same thing to the crossbody strap, and once again I will be back. We're going to get these straps done. Okay, so both straps are now top stitched, and then you're going to mark 5/8 of an inch from each short end of your strap, both straps. So I've done that on both. Then we're going to take these strap ends. So we have these little strap ends. You should have 4 of them. Okay, cut from your exterior. And I put double-sided tape on each end on the back. You can edge paint yours if you feel you need to. I didn't. I just kind of burned around the edges to get rid of any little, fuzzies. But we're going to put 1 on each end of our straps. So I'm going to peel away the backing from the double-sided tape. And I'm going to lay one edge, short edge, right up against that 5/8 inch mark we made. Okay, so just like that. And then I'm going to remove the backing from the other end, and I'm just going to fold that right over. Okay, so now we have no raw edge showing at the top of our strap. We're going to top stitch across there right at the end. So I'm going to do the other one. So I'll get that one on there. And Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch from the raw edge of the strap end give it a little back stitch. Oops, didn't want to go off the edge there. Okay. Oops. Okay. So now it should look like that. Let me just burn any little ends poking up. Okay. And I'll do the other side. Okay. And we will repeat this for the crossbody strap, and then we can set the crossbody strap aside. We won't be getting back to that for a little while. Now on the back side of the handle, I'm going to do the crossbody strap off camera, but I want to mark out on the back of the handle here. I'm going to mark out 3 inches from the end on each side. So, where'd that go, Jassy? What'd you drop? I dropped my hook. I'm always dropping something. Okay. Don't worry about it. I'll get it. Okay. So now we're going to take one of our swivel hooks. So you should have a 1-inch strip swivel hook. And we're going to put that on. And then we're going to bring the end over right to that 3-inch mark. Just like that. And we can clip it on. And then we're going to top stitch. We're going to top stitch the other end, so right at the fold of the strap end, we're going to top stitch across there. Okay. Alright. And I'll add another swivel hook to the other end as soon as I find it. But I'll just go ahead and show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so now we're going to add 2 rivets. So one on each side. Okay, so we want to make sure it falls within our top stitching because we don't want to poke a hole through our top stitching. So I'm going to mark it out first. 1 there and 1 there. Okay, and you can even check on the other side and make sure. So I can see that's going to fall right there and about right there. Okay, so okay, right, okay, and then we'll punch a hole here like so. Let me check something really quick here. Yeah, okay. So we're going to punch a hole And in here, my loud sons. Okay. They always forget I'm recording, or either they just don't care. Okay. I'm gonna grab a couple of rivets. Okay. And we're gonna put those on and get those pressed in place. Okay. Okay. I think I could probably use the... Okay. And then that's what it's going to look like on each end, just like that. So on the back. So I'll just go ahead. I'm going to get my other swivel hook off the floor here somewhere, and I'll put that on, and I'll put the other strap ends onto the crossbody strap. But again, we're not doing anything else with the crossbody strap right now. Then we'll be able to go ahead and we're going to start working on the exterior of our Scottie. Okay, so our strap is done. I have my hooks on, the rivets are set, and then I have my crossbody strap. I have the strap end sewn on. So now we can put our straps to the side, and now we're ready to do our front. So we have our front centerpiece. I put my label on 2.5 inches up from the bottom, just like she suggests, but just go ahead, put your label wherever you want if you don't want it there. I have some marks here on the side. I got that from the pattern piece. That's going to be my placement mark for those side pockets here. Okay, and I have my pocket interfacing pieces, and I have notched out the center here. So I just brought it together and I put a little notch on the center, and then we're going to use this front pocket stitch guide template. So this, on the wrong side of your facing, you're going to line this up with the edge here on both sides, and then just draw this shape here inside. So that this is your where you're going to stitch when you put your facing onto your front panel. So we're going to take one of these. This center mark here on your facing gets lined up with this mark on the side here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, put that right there, and get it clipped in place. Okay, so it's going to look like this, and then we're going to stitch right onto that line that we drew from the template. And I'm going to use a slightly smaller stitch length. I'm using a 3.5, and I'm going to go ahead and get this stitched here. I'm going to start on this side. And just take your time, go around those curves. And by the way, it's right sides together. Okay. All right. So now once you have that stitched on like that, now we're going to cut this out. We're going to cut out, leaving a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So just eyeballing it about, so till it's about a 1/4 inch. Okay, so now you've cut that out, and then we're going to just snip some little, put some snips right in the, with the curve, right in the curves. So do not cut your stitching. We're just snipping right into those curves so that it turns nicely. Okay, and then once you have that, now we can just turn this to the back. First, I like to just pull this back and put a clip like that. And then this side. So just keep those raw edges lined up at the top. Clip that side. And then now I'll start turning this to the back. Rolling the seam out, just like that. We could put a clip there. Okay, so we're just gonna push the seam out and then push this to the back. Okay. Okay, so now you should have it like that. That's what it's looking like on the back. If you have cotton, you could go ahead and give it a little press. Make sure you don't touch your vinyl exterior. Okay, you want to make sure it's smooth without any puckers, wrinkling. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get this one on, get it sewn up so we have both sides done, and then we're going to get ready to sew our pockets. Okay. All right, so I have both of my sides on my front center panel already. So I'm going to just set that over there. I have my two pieces of zipper tape. I have my two zipper pulls, and I have my two zipper pocket pieces. So I'm going to start with one. If you're using a printed lining, remember your zipper is going to go on the bottom of your lining, not at the top. So line your zipper tape at the bottom of your zipper pocket piece, and we're going to sew this on at 1/4 inch. Okay, just like that. Okay, so once you get that, now we can, and by the way, the wrong side, I just want to make sure. I didn't say it, but yeah. So let me just double check. Yeah. Did I do that right? Right side, place the pocket zipper also right side up. Yes, I did it. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. Yes. Okay. So now we're going to push the seam allowance Okay, down. And you can just, if you have cotton, you can just press it, or you can use some double-sided tape to hold it down in place. Me, I'm just going to top stitch. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this down and I'm going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch from my zip. Alrighty, so now you have this here. Remember, this is the bottom, so we want to put our zipper pull on. So go ahead, get your zipper pull, and I'm going to just get that on evenly. Oops. Make sure that's okay. And you want your zipper pull, so this is the bottom. You want your zipper pull going to the right, okay? So once you get that on, we're going to put a strip of double-sided tape. Okay, keeping it away from the ends. So about 1 inch away from the ends, right on the edge of that zipper tape. Okay. Let's move these pieces here. Okay. So now we have this, right? And then over here. So we want to make sure that the zipper pull is going up towards the top. So when we position this, so we're going to get this right in place like this, centering our zipper tape. The edge, the raw edge of your zipper tape should match the raw edge on the sides of your panel here. So I'm just going to get that clipped on just like that. Then I'm just going to take these clips out because I think it's holding okay. I don't want to end up having these permanent marks in my vinyl. Okay, so my zipper pull is going up. Okay, now I'm going to reach in, remove the backing to that double-sided tape, and I'm just going to press that down in place, making sure my facing, everything, and then my zipper is even. And I might have to clip that a little bit. Okay, just making sure everything is even, looking good from top to bottom. You want it evenly spaced on your zipper tape. Okay. You don't want to have more showing here and there. So I'm just going to get it. Once you get it where you want it, okay, you can adjust it until you sew it down. Once you sew it down, it's too late. Okay, so I think that looks good right there. And I think that's pretty even. I'll just make sure this side. Okay, yeah. So once you have it and it's nice and smooth, now we're going to top stitch. We're going to top stitch around that curve. Let me just make sure. Correct. So we're going to top stitch around that curve. Okay. So again, I'm going to start over here. Make sure your zipper tape is lined up. The raw edge should be lined up with the raw edge here. Make sure that facing is to the back. take your time going over these curves, and because you're going over the zipper as well. So you might want to hand crank, go over one stitch at a time. Just want to make sure that facing doesn't try to go to the back. So once I'm just making sure I keep it straight. There we go. Once you get around that curve, it's much easier. Okay, so just take your time. Take your time. You don't want your zipper to get wavy here. I'm going to move my zipper pull out of the way. Again, we're going around the curve, so take your time. All right. So there, we made it around. Made it around there. Okay. So I think, okay, let's smooth it out. All right, so that's what that side looks like. Okay, now we're going to bring the piece over, matching it up with the raw edge. Okay, get that clipped in place, just like that. And we're going to baste this together, 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so your pocket is folded, but before we do that, we're going to sew these ends down, these sides down. Okay, so make sure your sides are matched up. Okay, if they're not, get it matched up. Also keeping this raw edge up here. So, okay, just moving it over just a tiny bit. Okay, there we go. So now before we baste this side, we're going to pull this back and we're going to sew down. So you're sewing through your facing, your zipper, and we're going to sew these sides closed. So just pull this back. Okay. And then up here at the top, let me just move this over a little bit. And I'm going to take these clips off this side because I don't want them, like I said, I don't want them, those marks on my vinyl to be permanent. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this side back and I'm going to sew up this side. Okay. And now we can baste the pocket onto the zipper tape. Just make sure it looks good and straight. Okay, so that looks cute. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do the other pocket, and I'll come back as soon as I'm done. Okay, so I have both zipper pockets installed. They look great. This is what it looks like on the back, so they overlap. Just make sure you just crease it down good. If you have waterproof canvas, just creasing it down. If you have cotton, you can give it a little press to flatten it out. Okay, now we're going to put our side panel pieces on. Side panel A and side panel B. They're cut mirrored, so they should look like this. Okay, so we're going to have one going on, let's see, this side, right? Yes. So one going here, and then we're going to have one going here like that. So they're going to get sewn on like that. So let's get this one going. So we're going to just get this clipped in place, and we're going to sew it at 3/8 of an inch. Okay. And remember, we're sewing next to the zipper. So if you need your zipper foot on, go ahead and get your zipper foot installed. And we can get it going here. This vinyl is just a little stretchy. I'm trying to keep from stretching it. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna get that sewn on. Let me grab my stiletto here. Okay. 3/8 of an inch. I'm getting up here where my zipper pull is, so I'm going to leave my needle down, and I'm going to just move my zipper pull down out of the way. And then continue. One side down. Okay, just check it. Alrighty, looking good. Okay, and now we'll get the other side. Okay. I'm going to pull my zipper pull down. Now I'm going to pull it back up out of the way. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. So now, before I get ready to top stitch, I'm going to change my bobbin because I can tell it's not much left there. And then I'm going to go ahead and top stitch. So we're going to push the sides out and we're going to top stitch onto the side paddle. Okay. Zipper. Okay. Alrighty. And then the other side. What is the dog doing? Oh my gosh, the dog is just like going crazy.
Let's play with his toy. Now it's scratching his
Okay, so there we have our front done. Okay. So we have our front all done. I don't like how this little wrinkly, but this vinyl is pretty stretchy. I won't use this one again. I forget where I got it from, but I don't like it. But whatever. I think once it's all together, it's going to look great. I love the pattern, so that's what's important. So anyway, I never used this vinyl before. I should have tried it out first. But I think, like I said, it'll be fine once it starts to take shape. Okay, so we'll get the rest of the other pieces set up for the next step in our Scottie Convertible Bag. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to start constructing our back pocket. So you're going to need your back pocket top strip. I think that's what it's called. So it looks like this, And then on the back, I've marked where we're going to put the magnetic snap. I've already put my slits there, cut my slits out. We're going to put the female version on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and get that on. And then I have some Peltex for stabilizer. And I'll put my washer and get that pressed down. Okay, and then we will put a piece of duct tape over that. Okay. All right, and then put that over there. Okay. So, okay. All right. So then now once you have that on, you're going to take your back pocket lining piece, and that one also has the marking for your other half of your magnetic snap. And then also we have this, we need to mark out where we're going to sew our zipper facing, and that one you're going to use. So this template, this is the similar to the other template that we use for the front, but this one is T2. So I don't know if I mentioned it when we did the pockets on the front piece, and we drew this out. We used template T1. Okay, so on this one we're using template T2. So make sure you're using the correct template, because the depth of the this area here is a little deeper on this one. So you want to make sure you're using the correct one. So once you have that marked out, then we're going to go ahead and put the male portion of our snap on here. Okay. And again, I have my Peltex. Get my washer on. Okay. And make sure if you're using directional print lining, make sure you have it the correct way. This is at the bottom of the lining here. Okay. We'll get that covered up with a piece of duct tape. Okay. Alrighty, so now we have that on. So now we're going to take our piece here, our back pocket top strip. I know I'm saying that crazy, I really am. Okay, and the end that's closest, so the magnetic snap is closer to this end than this end. This is the end that we want to match up here with our lining piece. Okay, so let's get that clipped in place. And we're going to sew that on. Okay. Okay, so I have to kick my shoe off. So we're going to sew this on at 3/8 of an inch. Okay. Alrighty. And then we're going to push the seam allowance down toward the lining. And we're going to top stitch through the lining. or I should say onto the lining through the seam allowance too. Okay. Okay, so that's what we should have there. Then we're going to get our bottom piece. Let me grab that. Okay, and just one second. I just want to make sure. I'm just checking something. Okay. So our bottom piece looks like this. Okay, so we want to kind of mark the center here at the top. That marked. So it's going to clip right there. Okay, and then so this side here with the little where we traced out that for the zipper, that's the part that we want to line up with the edge, with the top edge of the bottom piece here. Okay, so this duct tape doesn't want to stick well to this waterproof canvas. That's okay. All right, and so we're going to match that up and clip that on. Okay, so now we should have it looking like this, and then we're going to sew around that. We're going to sew onto the line that we drew. So just like we did for the zipper pocket. This is not a zipper pocket, but we're going to just. So I'm decreasing my stitch length to 3.5, and I'm going to sew on that line. Okay, those clips. Okay, so now we have done that. Now we can cut this area out, leaving about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, I'm gonna cut this out. Oops. Okay. And then we're going to just cut some snips into the corners, into those rounded corners there. Okay. And now we're going to turn our lining to the back. Okay. Push this corner back at the top. Push that around to match up here at the top. We can put a little clip there. And we do the same thing on this side. So I'm just taking this part and I'm pushing it back and lining it up with the top edge there. Okay. And now once I flip this back, now I could just push the seam out and get the rest of the lining. Just make sure you got that pushed up. Okay, so now once you have that, and get it all smoothed out, make sure there's no puckers and everything. Okay, all right, let me just double check here. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. So now we're going to top stitch around this opening here. Okay, so let me get my stitch length back up. And we're going to top stitch around 1/5 of an inch. Uh-oh. Okay, the dog just decided to bark at the wrong time. So let's get this. Okay, get this started here. There's lots of steps to this pattern, so when I just keep checking to make sure I'm not missing anything. My brain doesn't want to remember. Okay, so I'm just going carefully around the curve. Take your time. Okay, there we go. So now we have that top stitched. Now we can bring this up. Make sure, go ahead and get your snap in place. It should line up. Here should line up right at the top here, like that. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead, we're going to fold the sides back, and we're going to go ahead and sew down the sides. Okay. So let's get a couple of clips in there. And get this sewn down here. So I'm just making sure everything looks good there. Got that and that. Okay. Okay, so we got one side sewn down. And then we're going to flip this side back. Okay. And we're gonna sew this side down. Okay. And now we can just base these little, so this is sticking up here. We just base that down. Okay. Alright, so just smooth that down. And now we're going to get our back top panel piece, and that should look like this. Okay, I'm just going to clip the midpoint at the top for later. Okay, and now we're going to take the bottom straight edge. We're going to match it right sides together with the top of the bottom piece here. Get that clipped on, and we're going to sew that on. Okay. So make sure I check. Okay. So yes, we're going to sew that on at 3/8. And then we're going to bring the seam allowance up toward the top panel, and we're going to top stitch. Okay, so let's get ready to top stitch. Here. Did I forget I had clips up there? Yeah. Okay, thank you, Jazz. Okay. So now the back is done. This is coming together. So we have our little pocket there, complete there. Okay. So now we have our back and our front complete. I'm just going to check them and make sure that they're the same size, and they are. So that's good. All right, so now I'm going to get the other pieces that we're going to get ready to start the next step. Be right back. Okay, so I'm back with the pieces we need for the next steps. Okay, so you're going to need your 4 rectangle rings. So I have those, and 2 D-rings. These are all 1 inch. Then you need your 2 top connectors, and you're going to make a mark from the bottom, 2 inches from the bottom. And then your 2 bottom connectors, and those 1 inch, you're going to make mark 1 inch from the bottom. And then you need, here you have your top connector pieces, and we have on the pattern, you're going to mark out, using the pattern, you're going to mark out the placement for your connector here, and then your bottom pieces here. And we also have used the pattern to mark out the placement there. So these are the pieces we're working with. So first we're going to take our top connectors. I keep wanting to make the big one be the bottom and the, you know, so I mean the top, and the, so this is going to be the top connector. Okay, so take your longer of these pieces, and we're going to let me just make sure I have this facing the right way. Yes, okay. So there should be less at the bottom than at the top, okay? So we're going to first place on our rectangle ring, and then our D ring. I believe that's how it goes, right? Yes. Rectangle ring and then the D ring. I have to keep checking, I'm telling you. And then we're going to fold this down to that line that we drew, okay? And then I actually, on this one, I put the line on the wrong side, so I'm going to have to redo that one. Let me look at this one. I put the line on the right side instead of the wrong side. Okay, so slide on your rectangle ring and then your D ring. And then I'm just going to put a little double-sided tape here. Okay. To hold this down. So get that on and get that on. And then we can remove the paper here. And we're going to fold this over to meet that line that we drew. Okay. And it's going to look just like that. Okay. So that's what we're doing. And then on one of your pieces like this, okay, we can add some double-sided tape here as well. And we're going to line the edge here, the raw edge of our connector, right to the bottom. And then we're going to line it up right in this, the marking that we drew out here. Okay. And it's just set right in there like that. Okay. So that is going to look like that. And then we'll do this, one of these here. So we have this 1 inch here at the bottom. Again, we can put some double-sided tape here. Put a little double-sided tape. Okay. Then we're going to add one of our rectangle rings. And we're going to fold this down to meet that 1 inch line down there. Okay. Okay. And it should be like this. And then on here, we put some more double-sided tape right in the middle here. And we're going to line that up at the bottom within that little rectangle. And get that pressed in place just like that. So that's what we have on those two. Okay, and then we're going to, let me get my tool, my marking tool, my chalk here. And on the longer one, we're going to mark 2.5 inches from the bottom edge. Okay. And then on this one, we're going to mark 1.5 inches. Okay. So this lets us know where we're going to start and stop our top stitching. So we're going to top stitch. We're going to start at the bottom. We're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch from the side, go right across on that line and come down. And we're going to do that on both of these. And then we're going to add our, let me just double check here. We're going to add our rivet to, okay. All right, so let's get that. Okay, get that top stitched. So I'm going to start with this one. Okay, we're going to make sure that nothing's sticking out of the side here. We'll push that under some. And I'll get it right on the line that I drew. And then I'm going to pivot, sew across right onto that line. And then down. Okay. Okay, and so now you should have that. And I'll do the same thing for this one. Okay, so that's what this is good. They're both going to look like here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get these caught up to where these are, and then we'll continue. Okay, I have all my connectors sewn on. So now I have already punched the holes for the rivets. So 1/4 inch up from the stitch line here. I did that on all 4 of them. And I also have some little pieces of Peltex for more stability. So I'm going to go ahead and get these installed fairly quickly. Okay. So we can keep this party going. I have a nail casualty. I broke a nail too, so it's all gone. Just shows how hard I'm working. They work me too hard around here. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my rivet press and get those pressed down. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So now that we have that done, now we can sew these together. So we're going to take one of our bottom pieces, one of our top pieces. So we're going to put this edge, we're going to match it up with this one like that. And we're going to sew it together 3/8 of an inch. Okay. Get those clipped. 3/8 of an inch. Just like so. And we'll do the next one here. Oh, I'm putting it on the wrong end. See how quickly I will goof things up? Y'all wouldn't believe this, but when I'm just sewing without doing a video, I really don't make all these little mistakes. I think it's the pressure of trying to remember everything. And then I just go goofy. But when I'm just in a zone sewing, I'm really not this bad. Not that I never make mistakes, but on my own, but I do. But sometimes it's really not that easy trying to remember everything to say while you're sewing. Okay, so now we're going to push that seam allowance down toward the bottom. Okay, so toward the longer piece, and then we're going to top stitch. But nonetheless, I enjoy doing the videos. Okay, so now we have that and this one. Okay, so now we have those two pieces. Now we're going to grab our base panel. I have my base panel here. I have Decovil Heavy fused to the back, okay, out of the seam allowance. I've marked the midpoints on the long edge, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to match that up to our bottom connector here. So we're going to match the short sides of the base with this. We're going to get this clipped on and sewn at 3/8. And this will make our gusset. And then the other side gets sewn onto this one. And now we're going to top stitch through the base. So get your seam allowance pushed toward the base. And let's get it all top stitched here. On this side. Alrighty. Okay, so now we have that. Look at that. Look how big that is. That it's so big. Alrighty. So I'll be back. Okay, so I'm going to kind of skip ahead a little bit, and I'm going to finish sewing my exterior together before I start working on my lining. The instructions follow a little differently, so if you want to do it exactly in step with the pattern, take a look. She starts the lining before she completes the exterior, but doesn't matter. I just like to do it this way, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. So we're going to take our gusset. We should have the midpoints marked. I'm going to start with the front panel here and get that sewn on. Now, this bag can be done as a drop-in, or it can be done, you can birth it. I'm going to be birthing mine, so pay attention to, I'm going to tell you some differences as I go. So if you're going to do a drop-in, you want to go ahead and mark a 3/4 inch line across the top on the back side of both of your main panels, and also the top of your gusset. Okay, but like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do using the birthing method, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to start here at the bottom and get this clipped on. Okay, so this the bottom straight edge. Get this clipped in place here. And then so I have the bottom clipped. Now I'm going to go up here to the top and get that clipped. This here. Clip down the side. So we're going to leave the corners for last. And come around to this side. And then when you get to nothing but the curves left, now we want to put some snips here. So no more than 1/4 inch up. I'm going to just snip around. So I'm snipping the gusset. Okay. Not my main panel. Over here. And then we can continue clipping. And now that should ease in now around the curves here. And then over here. Okay, once you get it all clipped, now we can sew it. So gusset side up, we're going to sew at 3/8 of an inch. I like to have my stiletto handy. And as you get closer to this curve, just take your time. Just go a little bit at a time. That's off track there. Back it up. Get back on my seam allowance there. Okay. We're just making our way around. Okay, we made it around, no problem. Okay. Now we're gonna just do one more row of stitching around. So starting about 1.5 inches from the top and just very about 1/8 or 1/16 inch close. So within the seam allowance, but very close to that first row of stitching. Okay, and this just gives it a little more stability on the seams. Okay, and since it's already sewn on, it shouldn't be any problem going around. Okay. Okay. So we have 1/2 on. Now we just need to put the other. Just going to check my curves, make sure it looks good. On this vinyl that I really hate. I'm sorry I do it. But I had already cut it and I was like, oh, I'm not going to waste it. But oh, I really do not like this vinyl. But it'll make us still, it'll be a nice bag for me to carry around. I wanted a brown one, and then I was like, oh, I had this, and I thought, yeah, this, but I was worried about that funky backing. I had ordered it online, and I was like, I don't know. But, you know, it is what it is. The pattern's great, just the vinyl sucky. Okay, so corners look good. I'm going to put the other side on, and then we'll get ready to do our lining and get it all done. So I will be back once I sew this other side on. I'll show you what it's looking like, and we will get it done today. Okay, so for the next steps, we're going to work on our lining gusset. So you should have your bottom gusset pieces, the lining, and then your top gusset pieces here, cut from your exterior, and then your lining base. Okay, so we're going to take the gusset top pieces. So the longer end, we're going to match up with the top of the gusset bottom. And we're going to sew that at 3/8 of an inch. Okay, we'll do that for both pieces here. Okay. Once you get that sewn on, then you're going to push the seam allowance down toward the bottom gusset, and we're going to top stitch. Okay, so just like that, I'm going to do the next one. And remember, this step, I kind of did it out of order. Not kind of, but I did do it out of order because I went ahead and I finished my exterior, which I don't believe I showed you after I finished it, huh? Did I show them, Jazzy? I didn't, did I? Okay, I'll show you quickly. So I turned my exterior out. So this is what it's looking like. It's real floppy, a little wrinkly right now, but it's supposed to be a slouchy bag. And so this is what we got. So I like it. Okay. So now we're going to sew our base onto our gusset pieces here. So matching up these short ends here. Let me go ahead and mark the midpoint on the long side of my base. Get that marked for later when we put all this together. Okay, so now we'll match this up, get this sewn on at 3/8 of an inch, just like we did the exterior. Okay, and this side as well. Was that like a little earthquake we had earlier this morning?
I don't know.
Or was it a sonic boom? Because we live close to the Air Force Base, and sometimes we can't tell if it was a sonic boom or if it was an earthquake.
What time was it?
I don't know, about 10 something, I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, so now we're going to top stitch through the base. So get our seam allowance pushed towards the base. Get that top stitched. It was just a short little boop. So I don't know. It was probably from the Air Force Base because I've been seeing a lot of jet action. Remember, were you with me the other day when we saw the jet?
I think so.
Or was that Joy? I don't know. But they've been doing some, they've been doing a lot of flying here lately. I don't know. Okay. So now we have that top stitched. Okay, so we can just set this out of the way for now. So that's complete. Now we're going to grab our main lining pieces and our pocket pieces. So I have already sewn up my zipper pocket because I have a video on doing a zipper pocket with overlay. So if you need to watch that, I'll put the link in the description. But my zipper pocket is done. Okay, now since I'm birthing my bag, I left the pocket open. But if you're going to be doing a drop-in, you can go ahead and close your pocket up, okay? So that's done. And now I have my other main lining piece. I've marked out the placement for the slip pocket. On the back of my slip pocket, on the longer side, on the shorter sides, I've marked out 1 inch on each side, and I put some double-sided tape. This is my slip pocket trim. I marked the center, and I put double-sided tape on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to remove the backing from the double-sided tape, and I'm going to fold that into that 1 inch line. And do the same thing for this side. Okay. And now we're going to fold it in half this way. So it should look like this. When we're done, we're going to base this raw edge closed. I really gotta give my lining a nice press here. Okay, so base that close, matching up the sides. Daddy's sneezing. Tell him no sneezing while I'm recording. Okay. Alrighty, so now that we have that closed up, just give your lining a good press down here. If you're using cotton, you can take it to the iron and press it down. Okay, so now we're going to attach our trim, remove one side, the backing of the double-sided tape, and we're just going to center this on. I don't put it all the way up to that line, the midpoint, because I just want to be able to fold it over without having too much bulk in the center. Okay. And then we will fold this to meet. So first I do the sides. Then I like to take my ruler and line it up right along the end like that, and then fold it so I get a nice even edge here. Okay. Just like that. Okay. And it looks nice and even. Now we're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch from that raw edge. Okay. Good. And you can trim off the extra on the sides. Trim it flush with the sides here. Like so. And then I'll just give this a little burn here. Okay. And then we should have our center line here. You can leave your slip pocket this big if you want, but I'm going to sew down the middle, so I'm just going to crease it so I can see. I'm probably even use the chalk here. So just make sure that I stay straight. Okay. Alrighty. And like I said, I have my mark here, so I know how far down I'm going to put it, and I have the center marked. So I'm just going to line that up right there. Okay. Then we can, I like to fold over one edge and put a clip. You can do the bottom too if you want, so it doesn't move. Just like that. And then I'm going to start sewing down the side, across the bottom, and up the other side. First, I'm going to change my bobbin because I can hear that it's low. Yeah, it's really low. So I'm going to change that out with a fresh one. Okay, and we'll get ready. So I'm going to come down the side here, back stitching really well. Okay, I can remove this clip. Continue. If you want to put a little back stitch at the corners at the bottom, you can, but I don't. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to top stitch, and I'm going to go 1 stitch past this center mark, this center line here, my divider line. And then I'm going to sew up, and then I'm going to make 1 stitch over the other side, stitch down, and then stitch back around. So that way I can just do it in one fell swoop. Okay. So I'm going to go 1 stitch past, about right there. So I'm just coming up the side of that line, not on the line. Okay. I'm running my foot right along the line here, the inner foot here, coming up. Okay, I'm not going onto the trim, just right underneath the trim. And then I'm going to turn this way, go 1 stitch over, and then I'm going to come back down. Okay, up it, and then now I can just continue on. Okay. There we have it. Okay, and then we can, I'll use a cloth to get rid of the chalk marks, but can you see? Can you see that good, Jazzy, on there? The stitches, is it showing up good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add some rivets. Okay. I don't know where I did my little silver pin. I thought I placed it up here somewhere, but I didn't.
Here.
Oh, it's hiding from me. What would I do without you, Jessie? So I'm going to put a rivet here in the corner here. I'm going to put one right in the middle, right here onto the trim. And then one right here, okay? And I'm going to secure it with a little Peltex on the back. So once I do that, I'll be back, and we're going to finish up the lining. Okay, I'm back, and I have the rivets in place on my slip pocket. It's looking so good. Okay, so now get your zipper, your main zipper. You're going to go ahead and get these ends, turn to this 90-degree. Just follow the pattern instructions if you don't know how to do that, but it's pretty simple. We just want these ends at a 90-degree angle here. Okay, and we're going to have our main lining pieces. We're going to make some marks on there. So on the one with the zipper pocket on this side, which is going to be your left side, you're going to put a mark at 1.5 inch, and then on the right side you want to mark at 2 inches. On the one with the slip pocket, it's the reverse. The right side gets the left side gets 2 inches. Because I'm looking this way, 2 inches, and the right side gets 1.5 inch mark. Okay, and if you want, you can go ahead. So this is a zipper in that you can cut out from the pattern, and you can go ahead and put that right on the end of your zipper tape, just like that. I've marked the center, and I put some double-sided tape on both sides. So I would just center that on and fold that over, and then it gets top stitched around. I'm going to do mine at the end because I like to keep my zipper open throughout this process. But if you want to go ahead and put it on now like the instructions, you can. Okay, so I'm going to start with the one with the zipper pocket because I want to make sure that my zipper is going on in the same direction. So the zipper pocket gets close to the left, and that's how I want my main zipper to close to the left. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this. So the curve of the teeth here on the 90-degree end of the zipper, it gets matched up right where you have that 1.5 inch line. And so you can go ahead, you can clip it in place, or you can put some double-sided tape to hold it down, whichever is best for you. Okay, so I'm just going to use some clips, and I'm going to get this clipped. The zipper, the main panel, lining panel is right side up, and the zipper is also right side up. Okay. And now we're going to get this basted in place. Okay. So I'm just going to baste it on at 1/8 of an inch, keeping the zipper tape lined up with the raw edge of the main lining panel. Now, when we get to that mark, the 2-inch mark on this end, we're going to start bringing the zipper down. So we don't want to sew past. So we're going to sew right up to that 2-inch. Don't go past that 2-inch mark. So when I get to that 2-inch mark, I'm going to stop. And there's that mark. And I'm going to back stitch right there. Okay, so we don't want to go past that 2-inch mark. Okay, so I didn't sew past that. Okay. And then now we can pull this end off. Okay, this is why I like to keep mine set. I don't like to put the zipper end on just yet, because I like to keep it where I can work them separately. So now we're going to do the same thing with this one. So mark. This time it's going on the opposite side. So the 1.5 inch mark is on the right side. And we're going to line that up, match that up. And we're going to baste it on. And then we're going to start sewing at that 2-inch mark. Don't go past it. And then we're going to finish up here at this 1.5 inch mark. Okay. So right here, here's the 2-inch mark here. Okay, so that's where I'm going to start. And just get it basted in place. Okay. All right, so just like that. Now we have our zipper, main zipper attached here. Now we're going to grab our lining top pieces, okay, that I wrinkled up. So they look like this. So you should have 2 cut from your exterior. So we're going to, I'm going to go ahead and mark the midpoint at this, on this end, the curvy end, which is the top. Okay, and now I'm going to take one, we're going to lay it right side down on top, going to match it up, the zipper end, keep it down and out of the way. So you can clip that down, okay, because we don't want to sew it into the seam here. So we're going to keep that out of the way, so it's nice and free. Wants to be free. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Jess. And just make sure that the zipper lays flat here. You don't want it poking up and it's going to look crazy there. So keep it nice and flat, but still it's going to curve down out of the way. Okay. So now, and then we'll get this in clipped. we're getting close to being done with our Scottie 3-in-1 convertible bag. It's such a great bag. It really is. I really like this bag. Okay, and we're going to sew that on. Now, let me just check. I usually like to sew my zippers at 1/4 inch, but I think we're doing 3. Yeah, 3/8. So we're going to do 3/8 of an inch. Okay. So if you need your zipper foot, go ahead and get that put on. I don't like zipper feet. Not on this machine anyway. Okay, I'm going to grab my stiletto. Helps me keep it from sliding around. Okay, and we're going to keep constant 3/8 here. Okay. Try to keep it as even as you can so your zipper doesn't look wonky. Okay, remember that zipper tail over here. Don't sew over it. We want to keep it and make sure it stays nice and flat under there. We don't want to sew over it. We don't want it in this seam here. Okay. All right. That's why we clipped it down here, so it'll stay out of the way. Okay. So now we have that sewn on. And then we're top stitching through the lining. So see how our zipper tail is nice and free, okay? And then we're going to push the seam allowance down. Give your zipper a little tug. Make sure it's out, okay? And we're going to top stitch. Just kind of pull it snug as you go. Okay. Zipper. Okay. There we go. Okay, and that's how it should be looking. Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get the other end, the other top on. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to sew. No, I won't. I'll show you. Because I was going to say, do you really want to see me sew the gusset on when we already did it on the exterior? But I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep that on there. So, but I'll be back after I put this other top on. Okay, so now I have the zipper and the tops, lining tops on the main lining pieces. I have my gusset here. I marked out about 10 inches on one side of my gusset here. That's the part I'm going to leave open to birth the bag. So again, if you're not birthing your bag, if you're doing the drop in, go ahead on the back here, mark out 3/4 of an inch from the top, 3/4 of an inch from the tops of your gusset as well. Okay, you're going to put some double-sided tape, and that's going to get folded down before you drop in. So, but again, I'm birthing, so I'm not doing that. So I'm going to start with the zipper pocket side. I'm going to leave the opening on the zipper pocket side, just because that's the side I chose. All right, and I'm just going to add some clips here. Get it clipped. And then, just like we did for the exterior, okay, get your zipper You want to, the zipper tail, you want to clip that out of the way. Okay. And then we're going to get this, making sure this is matched up. The seam is matched up over here. And let's get this sewn up. Just want to check, do we increase our seam allowance? I can't remember if we do or not. Let me just double check. Yeah, so we're going to increase our seam allowance on the lining to 5/8. So we're going to start at 3/8 and then we're going to increase to 5/8. Okay, so we have a nice fitted lining out in the bagginess. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this one half, then I'll go off camera, get the other half put on, and then we'll be ready to sew it all together, get our strap on, and that will be it. So just as we did before, we want to make some snips in the gusset so that it fits properly. So we can do some 1/2 inch since our seam allowance is a little bigger on the lining. So you can go up about 1/2 inch. Okay, and get this clipped. All right, so now we're ready to sew. Okay. So again, we're starting at 3/8 and then we're going to increase to 5/8, gradually increase. Okay. Watch your zipper pocket underneath. You don't want to sew through that. Okay, so now I'm at 4/8. I'm going to keep going. Now I'm at 5/8. Okay. Okay, so go around. Try to keep the edges lined up. Take your time. Go around these curves. Waterproof canvas does not like to, stretch or so. Sometimes you gotta really take your time with this here. It has no give. So I might have to make my snips just a little bit longer. And that helps. Snip. Yep, if your snips are not long enough, sometimes it just won't work out there. Okay. Now I'm getting to my mark I made because I want to leave this open. So I'm just going to back stitch when I get there. Don't want to go any further because I'm leaving this side open. Okay, so now I'm going to just pick up over here. Still at 5/8. Increase these snips over here. They're not long enough. Okay, so let me snip a little deeper so that I can get it to lay. You want it to lay as flat as you can. Okay, there. Okay. Might still get a couple of little puckers in there because that's just the waterproof canvas. It just doesn't like to behave. Okay, so now once I come back up the side, again, making sure my pocket's out of the way, I'm going to start gradually going back in until I get to 3/8. Now I'm back to 3/8. Okay. Okay, so now I have that side done. Have my opening to turn her out. I can trim down, but not in the opening. I'm just going to trim down here, the part where I sewed. Get it trimmed down. And I'm not going to trim it all the way to the top. So just like right on here. I'll leave that part, the lining top, just the way it is. Okay, so there we have that. Okay, now I'll do the other side and then we'll get ready to put it all together. All right, so the lining is all sewn up. Okay, I've trimmed the seam allowances down. So now we're ready to go ahead and put it all together. So I'm going to take the exterior and I'm going to put it right inside the lining. So this is where my back is, the zipper pocket. So I'm going to put the back of my exterior right up against that side. Get that in there. Okay. And then we're going to match up these seams. Now, if you want, before you do this, you can use some double-sided tape and open up your seam allowances and, you know, tape them down. I didn't. I'm just going to open them up and match them up and clip them. Okay, and I think I won't have any problem there. So just get them matched. So I'm going to match up all the seams first and get those clipped. Okay, make sure I get my rings out of the way. Okay. It's a big bag. Sorry if I'm getting it out of the frame. So I have my other daughter here, Jayla, stepping in for Jackie. I got plenty of kids to help. And Jayla.
That's right.
Alrighty, so get it all clipped together. Just try to match those seams up the best you can there. The good thing about this being such a slouchy bag is uh-oh. Did I not backstitch here? This is coming loose. I think my thread had broke, so I'm sorry. I have to stitch this back up. It looks like my thread had broken right here. Can't have that coming loose. Okay. All right. Get all this. It's hot in here, huh, Jayla? It had started to cool down, and I put this hot sweater on, but now it wants to go back to being hot again. Okay. So now I'm clipping the centers here. Okay. And then the rest should be easy breezy. Get it all clipped. Just throw a couple clips in there. Here. And then we're going to sew this together at 3/8 and get it turned out. All right. That's it. All right, now we're ready to sew it up. I'm going to start back here and give it a go. Okay. All right, 3/8. All right. And just follow those curves. If you did the drop in, then you would be folding down these raw edges to meet the drop in line. Then you would be putting them together, wrong sides together, and getting ready to top stitch. I think the drop-in is great, especially if you're dealing with some thicker materials. But this vinyl is so thin that birthing this bag is not going to be a problem. like to back stitch over the seams. Those seams, make sure they're nice and secure. Okay. Almost to the finish. Oops. Okay. We made it around. We did it. We did it. Okay. So now, since we have all these curves in here, I'm going to snip into, okay, make sure you don't snip your seam, your stitches, okay? And I'm just going to add some snips here. Okay, you can also use your pinking shears if you rather do that. Okay, on the I'll probably take my pinking shears, and on this part here, I'll just probably just do that. Okay. And just on that part. And on this middle part, just continue to snip here. Okay. Now we ready to, what do they say? We ready to birth? Give birth? I've done it quite a few times myself. Okay, so I'm going to grab this opening here at the bottom. I'm going to grab the bottom of the bag and get it pulled out through there. And see how easy it just glides right out. This vinyl's so wrinkly. All right, gonna give it a good steam. Okay, and now we're just gonna get those seams pushed out, get our lining pushed back in. And then start rolling these seams out, getting them clipped so that we can top stitch. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do next. So go ahead. So just use your fingers and just roll the seams like that. They're nice and smooth, and get them clipped. I'll get them clipped, and then I'll come back. We can top stitch. We'll get our zipper end on, close up the lining, and then we'll put our strap on. So I'll be right back after I get all this clipped together. Everything's clipped up and ready for top stitching. So I am going to, I was going to turn it back out and top stitch from the outside, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and top stitch from the inside. So I'm going to start back here and get ready. I'm going to leave long tails and get ready to go. roller down. Make sure you squeeze the seams. Make sure they're getting flat as possible. Just using my pliers to smash it down. Or you can hammer them down, whatever your preference is. Okay. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. Okay, top stitching is done. Okay, just pull my threads through so I can tie them off. If I could pull the right one. Wrong one. Gotta make sure you're pulling the right thread. There we go. All right. So now we just gonna, I'm gonna leave those threads for right now. I'm gonna go ahead and close up the lining. So I'm just gonna pull my zipper pocket out. I'm gonna reach in and grab my lining and pull it up through the zipper pocket. Find my hole, just right here. Okay, so I'm going to match up the centers, get that clipped and here. And here. Okay. And sew that up. Remembering to keep my 5/8 of an inch seam allowance down here. Okay. Now the bottom of my lining is closed up. I'm going to trim down that seam allowance. Now I can push my lining back through. And get ready to close my pocket. Okay. So I'm going to just open up the seam allowances on the side. Okay. And I'm going to fold that down about 3/8 of an inch. Then bring that together at the seam. Clip. And do the same thing over here. And then get the rest clipped. And let's sew that closed. Okay, our lining is all complete. Okay. Push everything down. Closed. Push my lining down good. All right. Now I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to tie off these threads and we'll get our straps, get our zipper tail, our zipper end on, and finish it up. So I'm just threading a needle. Threading my needle here. Oh, I'm trying to thread my needle here. I do this every time. Okay. And then I'm just going to go right through. So there 2 threads are coming out of the center hole here. I'm just going to go right through that hole and come up through the seam. Okay. Right up through the middle of the seam. Okay, just like that. And pull that. And then I'll just tie it off. Give it a little burn with the lighter, a little glue. Make sure it doesn't come unwrapped. So tie it off good within the seam. Okay. I only put 1 good knot, 2 good knots because I don't want it to be too lumpy there. Okay. Okay. And then I always follow up with a little glue right there in the center there. I'll put a little glue there and then I just pinch it close. And you just, there. Okay. So, there. That didn't look too bad, huh? Even though I'm not a big fan of this vinyl, but it's still, I just love this pattern. So, makes up for the bad vinyl. So I'm going to put my zipper pull on. I haven't got a vinyl in a while that I just really did not like. Okay. So I'm going to put my zipper pull on. Then now here's this tail here. This end, I want to keep calling it a tail. I'm going to take this paper off, the double-sided tape. I've already burned the end of my zipper. I'm going to lay it right there at the center mark. Take the other piece of paper off and then fold that over. Okay, and closing the raw edge of the zipper. And then I'm just going to top stitch that on. Okay, and then we can put a couple of rivets on there too. Make sure it's easier to do before you put the zipper on the bag, but like I said, I prefer to work my bag without having the zipper closed up. Okay, so once you have that top stitched, give it a little. All right, and then you can just punch a hole on each side here too. Add a little rivet, add a couple of rivets for like decoration and to secure this too. Okay, so I'm going to add those rivets and grab the straps, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have put the rivets onto my strap end. We're going to get ready to get our backpack. This is like our crossbody / backpack strap. Okay, so we have marked 3 inches from one side. We have our slider. We're going to get this on, so we're going to put it through over the bar and meet up at that 3-inch line, and we're going to sew this end of our strap in here. We're going to sew that down. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to mark where we're going to put our rivets. So we're going to add 2 rivets here in between those stitches, just like we did before. So I'm going to put 1 here, 1 here. So punch the holes for the rivets. And get those put on through here. So 1, and 2. Get those set in place. Once you have that on, so it should look like that, we're going to take our bag without knocking everything down. With your bag facing like this, you're going to take the end of your strap that doesn't have the slider, and you're going to put it down through the rectangle ring with the right side of the strap up against the right side of the bag. Okay, so pull that down. Then when you get up here to your slider, you're going to put it up through the slider and over the bar on the other side, like that, okay? Okay, so now we have that side. Then come up through your rectangle ring here. Just give it a little more slack here. Okay, make sure I have plenty of room. Okay, bring it around. And you're going to come around to this one. Okay, come down on this side through the rectangle ring. Like that. Okay, and now we're going to, let me just make sure real quick, because this is where I always get it complicated. Okay, so come up, around, down. Okay, and then we're going to add, yeah, that's the part. Okay, that's, yes. Okay, come grab your other slider. We're going to grab your other slider, and you're going to come up and around like that. So it's on there. Then you're going to come up from the bottom, up through. Okay. And then, so give yourself some slack here. And then you're going to come. So you're coming up and then back down through the middle, through the bar, over the bar. There, like that. Okay. Alrighty, and then we're going to sew this down. Sew this down here. So sew across and then add a couple of rivets there to hold it in place. Okay. So now we've completed. I hope I didn't go this. Okay. So just make sure that you're doing it on the back side of the strap and not on the top of the strap. Okay, I'm just going to sew this down. Okay, and then mark where I'm going to put my rivets. Okay, I'm going to put one here, and let's see, one here, and one here. Okay, so I'm going to punch that out. My rivets in. And now you have, so when you pull this up, you can adjust this here, okay, and you can adjust it as far as you want it to go, And you'll have your you'll have your crossbody strap. If you want, you can make it longer and have your crossbody strap, or you can pull it here like this, and you have your backpack straps. And then let's not forget, we also have our shoulder strap here. It goes, you connect that to the D-rings. So there's our 3-in-1. Okay. And that's our Scottie bag. So there we go. Alrighty. So I will be putting the link to the pattern in the description. It really is a lovely bag. Please don't let my poor choice of vinyl deter you from making this bag. It is a beautiful bag. You'll see I have another one I will show you that's done with a better quality vinyl, and you can really see the beauty in this bag. So anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time at Soulful Creations.